Hey guys, Logan here. I'm an ex-medtech CEO who's here to answer your tough leadership questions. I've got one written here from somebody who just became a new manager. It says, Dear Logan, I was promoted to manager almost 6 months ago when they divided up our team and moved 6 employees who were previously my peers underneath me from our old manager. Everyone has been pretty good so far, but I do have one team member who repeatedly asks me or tells me in meetings, that's not how so-and-so does it, their old manager. I can feel myself getting frustrated and wanting to respond with, well, that's how I'm telling you to do it. But I know that won't go over well. Good insight. It's happening more and more, and I feel like I'm starting to lose the respect of my team. This is great. I actually had something very similar happen when I started out managing. I became a manager when I was only 25, and I had started in the neuromonitoring space and moved down to Tampa, Florida from the Midwest and managed a team. And I was the most experienced with only about 3.5 years under my belt, and the rest of my team was pretty green, coming almost straight out of training. And I remember I had a team of mostly guys, as you do, and med tech, but one girl who honestly was great. She just was really challenging. She would challenge anytime I would, make a suggestion or, have a new initiative in a meeting. She would kind of contest and say that's not how her old manager would do it. Or she would just reach out to her old manager and I don't want to say complain, but, raise the concern of, hey, I'm being asked to do this. What are your thoughts? So what I did is I reached back, when she came to me and would tell me what's going on and her concerns, I stepped aside. I talked to her one-on-one. I just kind of said, hey, let's deal with what your concerns are. My personal philosophy is you praise publicly and you criticize privately. And so I kind of asked for a mutual respect in that space. I also did reach out to the manager. She was not someone who I'd worked with before, but I'd heard a lot of good things. I let her know I was a new manager and, really heard good things about her management style and could use help and support. And if she ever thought, there was anything I was doing that was really overstepping, I was here to learn. So that was great too, because I feel like what I did was took a situation that could have been two people who maybe weren't rooting for me and turned them into allies. This particular girl ended up becoming one of my biggest allies. I still talk to her honestly to today. She had some valid concerns and points. She just wanted, I think, the safety net to know that we were all thinking the same thing. We all were trying to keep the patient and, patient's best interests in mind. And I think that's sometimes a hard thing when you're told a directive and you don't really see how it fits into the big picture. And honestly, I think more and more the younger people getting in the workforce need to know how they're going to affect the big picture. They just don't want to be told, to keep their heads down and do it. You're going to be experiencing a little bit more pushback. So my suggestion would be pull this person aside, have a conversation with them, let them know that, you want to hear what they have to say. But if they are just criticizing without really bringing a solution, another philosophy of mine is that's not a problem. If you don't offer a solution, it doesn't, keep it constructive. So problems have solutions. If she's coming to you and addressing that something's an issue and wants to have a solution that she thinks might be better or he thinks might be better, by all means, right? Let's talk about it. Let's make it constructive during the meeting. If you just think something's an issue, that's okay too. But maybe let's talk about it after the meeting. And, give them the opportunity to also voice concerns about your management style with them. The reality is the toughest thing about becoming a manager is, the things that led you to be a manager won't make you a good manager. Being a hard worker and a team player and all that stuff that probably got you promoted aren't actually the things that are going to make you a really good manager. The things that are going to make you a good manager and a good leader are working with your team, figuring out what motivates them one-on-one, and actually coaching them. I think that took me a really long time to learn as a leader. You know, managers can break down tasks, they can give you direction. Leaders really coach. Leaders find what your motivation is, they find your strengths, they see how they can get people in the right seats on the bus, so to speak, with their team, and have them all kind of moving and rowing in the right direction. So that's a huge challenge, and you know, that's kind of what I work with people on in my leadership coaching, is developing that mentality of, you know, being inquisitive and not always trying to take the ball and run with it, right? And not always have it be your idea. Your team is there. And the more you can tap on your team and have them bring issues to you and solutions to you, and honestly, even, you know, having those solutions not have to go through you every time. That's huge. You'll find throughout your career, the more you can do that, the more you create space for yourself, the more opportunity, the more space to grow, the more you're gonna have people rise around you. And people take notice of that, you know, and you also will create a lot of space and energy for yourself, versus you trying to kind of do everything and have your hand in everything. That's where a lot of burnout comes for new managers. So I love this question. Thanks for asking it. If you guys have a tough leadership question you need help with, shoot me a DM. And if you want more leadership advice, just press follow, and I'll be giving these videos out weekly. All right, have a good day.